And welcome GG Leagues fans to another match here during this week where we're going to be still in Illinois tonight with the Division B teams of SEMO Esports over on the blue side, and over on the red side we're going to have the Yellow Jackets. My name is Mercenary. Joining me today, as always, will be the wonderful DJ. How you doing today, bud?
Fantastic, Mercenary. How are you? How was your 4th of July weekend?
It was great. I worked and had a nice drink in this wonderful heat.
To hear, I played a lot of League. I got demoted and promoted and demoted and promoted. So it was an eventful weekend.
Oh, sounds eventful. But speaking of eventful, we're diving right into the bans right now. Oh, for SEMO, they're going to be banning out the Volibear and the Riven. Two interesting top laners. Riven actually just got a buff just recently. But for Yellow Jackets, is going to ban the Ezreal, who actually got a slight nerf for his E. Does not take away from his damage, but does take away from the mobility. Speaking of mobility, there is an Akali. Interesting ban there. She's not the strongest, but she definitely she can get around. That's what I can say.
Definitely a champion that's had a lot of teeth removed from her in the most recent patches. I think she's been nerfed countless times at this point since her completely broken release. But yeah, very sort of specific champion, requires a lot of mechanical skill to play at the highest level for sure. So definitely interesting to see that potentially respect band there away from a member of Yellow Jackets.
But as we're diving in again, we have a Callista and an Ornn for our last bans. Ornn, great team fighting top laner, and Callista, one of the higher end ADCs, has seen a lot of love as of recent. And first pick for SEMO is going to be the Maokai. Maokai actually got a nerf just recently. It wasn't too big, namely, in fact. I'm pretty sure it's to his W, if I'm not sure. I don't know. Whatever one that makes him go in, that was recently nerfed. But should be an interesting play there. And it looks like the Shen might be the counter pick up in the top lane here. Very interesting pick there.
Definitely, it is the W there, the Twisted Advance on Maokai. And you definitely see from SEMO Esports what the plan was here, banning away 2 out-and-out top laners and a 3rd flex top laner there in Callista, and then first picking their Maokai. So definitely did not want that pick to get countered by some of the worst matchups. And Yellow Jackets just opting into sort of the return pick. As soon as they see that Maokai, they see, okay, we got a tank. That lets us play Shen. So the Shen comes out here with Nautilus. So pretty tanky double champion first round there for the Yellow Jackets.
So it looks like we're at counter down there in support with the bot lane for Morgana. Definitely good for handling the Nautilus ulti as well as the Q, especially because Nautilus ulti is a very well telegraphed ulti. You know it's coming, so that will definitely help during those team fights for SEMO. The Shen pick is interesting. You don't really see him play too much anymore, but he's always fun to see. Namely, the fact he does help, especially with auto attack based champions. But so far for SEMO, not picking much in the way of that. They do have the Jarvan though, with his Nocturne. A great jungler nonetheless, but we haven't seen too much of him in pro play as of recent. I wonder if we're going to see the Sejuani, who actually just got buffed recently too, for E. Maybe they'll be coming out here for Yellow Jackets in the next 5 seconds.
We'll see if that comes through. I'm sure Yankos is quaking in his boots, and oh god, he called it there.
I'm calling him in.
Big buff. Now Yankos is probably cursing if he were watching our stream here. Is not that jungler for G2, not a huge fan of the Sejuani pick in the meta. Says it makes the jungle meta a little boring, but she will be here as that big tanky pick champion that she has always been known to be. So pretty tanky survivability sort of first round here from both sides. And Morgana not with the tank stats, but definitely with that nullifying shield for Nautilus ult for the Sejuani ultimate as well. One of those abilities, and a good amount of engage here from SEMO with the Jarvan Maokai combination there. So interesting to see what comes out here in the second round. Do keep in mind this Morgana can be flexed to the mid lane, though definitely a very linear champion there in the mid lane if it were to be played.
And over SEMO, they're actually going to ban out that Aphelios, probably noticing that they might have put all on the ADC here for Yellow Jackets. Yeah, that's a great pick in the bot lane, but we have a LeBlanc pick for the mid lane. I'm pretty sure that's another targeted one, though I don't think anyone likes playing against a LeBlanc. But Yellow Jackets, a couple seconds here, and they're going to ban out. Looks like the Caitlyn here, they're hovering in, and it looks like it's going to be the Caitlyn in the end. pretty, you don't see her a lot in much of the way of competitive scene, but Caitlyn is still a great and one of the most impressive ADCs out there, especially with the large amount of range that she has.
Yeah, I'm looking at these Yellow Jackets bands. I'm actually pretty excited with them on red side. LeBlanc, a pretty safe blind mid laner there, and Caitlyn with a large range, auto attack range, base auto attack range, sorry, in the game. Definitely something safer for AD carries to pick blind in a bad situation. So actually pretty excited to see what they do for their counter pick here. I really want them to use that as they kind of set it up here to get a pretty decent one, I would say. So really hoping they find a good counter matchup for themselves.
Definitely, and as they're diving into the first pick, we have the Xayah pick as an ADC. Great damage dealer down there. Definitely could look to see her be the focus of the damage for Yellow Jackets right now. Let's see what happens mid lane. Couple seconds left until we get a possible counter pick of an ADC. Doesn't really matter for them in the end. About 2 seconds. Looks like it'd be the Ashe Morgana bot lane. Pretty solid bot lane all around. Morgana lands a Q. Ashe is able to land up more abilities as well. Pretty standard, though Ashe is seen more readily with tanks, especially those with hooks. So that should be an interesting bot lane against that Xayah Nautilus down there.
I'm interested to see what they round it out here with. It is the Corki mid lane, which I do like there. I think that comp was pretty lacking in damage before that pick for sure. Ashe more of a does do damage, but more of a supportive mid-level damage, late game AD carry there. So I was a little concerned about that damage profile there, but the Corki does answer that for the late game for sure. Definitely scaling pick there, and we will see the handshake in mid lane. So a little disappointed here with Yellow Jackets' supposed counter pick, as Corki Azir is a mid lane matchup. Tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme. Nobody dies, everyone farms, and everyone yawns until at least 25 minutes.
Yeah, you're not going to see much happening down in the mid lane. Bot lane might be a bit more focused, but a lot of the attention is going to go straight to these junglers. Sejuani and Jarvan, both known for solid ganks all around, so we're probably going to see those across the board, but most likely the focus will go either to that mid lane or that bot lane. Top lane hasn't seen much in the way of love, especially with two heavy hitters such as Shen and Maokai. They're not going to do a ton of damage to each other, but they're just going to sit up there and just going to bonk each other in the end. Something to be worth mentioning, though, that Shen pick actually kind of came out pretty well, especially with the Jarvan and the Ashe, and some of the Corki as well, adding up to a lot of counterplay with the Shen there. But just looking at these comps, I like both of them. I enjoy SEMO's like solid comp. They have solid damage all around, along with tank. And then Yellow Jackets, they have this just wall. They have a wall on a guy who literally makes walls, along with its solid damage coming out from the Xayah as well. So that should be this should be an interesting matchup for sure.
I do agree. I do like both comps. Definitely both team fighting oriented comps here with some big engage ultimates on both sides, a little bit of disengage, and a couple of late game options on both sides here. I do as you mentioned, want to call out the Shen here. I think this will be a pretty effective pick in this game. You don't see Shen a lot because he's a little tough to play into a lot of more aggressive bruisers, but seeing that Maokai come out early allows him to be played here, and I think he will do very nicely into some of the hard engage from this Jarvan, Maokai, and team fights, and allow this Xayah and Azir to really put out the damage without being afraid. So interested to see how that Shen gets played. I think that will be kind of potentially the difference maker here in a 5v5 team fight.
Definitely indeed. I'm excited to see Shen. I wonder if we're gonna get to see some of those wonderful new chromas from the Shen line up there in the top lane. That'll always be fun. But it's namely these junglers that I like to focus on a lot, because again, they're both extremely well played. They both left ganks, and I'm just interested to see how they're going to handle it. Both these junglers are pretty well played as well, but Yellow Jackets currently hold one of the top spots in Division B right now. So we'll see if Zenith will do more with his picks here.
Yeah, definitely an interesting matchup. I think Erglim should have a little bit more agency in the early game. Jarvan can pull off level 2, level 3 ganks, whereas Sejuani much more comfortable farming 2/6 long range ultimate. But we'll see if they can make something happen, because I think the rest of the comps here kind of want to scale and farm. Most of the lanes are pretty safe. Morgana Shield, Corki Dash, Azir Dash, Shen Maokai, big tanks. So tough ganks in general. Will be interesting to see what these junglers are able to do in this early game, or if they'll sort of opt into the larger scaling that it looks like their team comps want to achieve.
Yes, indeed. Overall, both these teams are pretty solid. It's just whoever can get the upper hand. It's not really a match of a snowball. It's more of a match of who can break the wall down first. All these alties are extremely oppressive, especially for over the side of SEMO. They have a lot of wide range ultimates, but also going on for Yellow Jackets here as well. They have the Shen, they have the ulti going down the bot. They have the Nautilus ulti as well, and Azir can definitely help with team fights, and Sejuani can definitely start off team fights there as well. But we do have about 20 seconds here until we go to spectators break. I want to know who you guys have coming out on top with these matchups here between SEMO Esports and the Yellow Jackets here in Division B. With about 2 minutes to go here, we're going to see you guys after Spectac League. And welcome back, GG Leagues fans, to this wonderful Illinois B Division match. Over on the blue side, we have SEMO Esports, and over on the red, we have Yellow Jackets. My name's Mercenary, and once again, joining me is DJ. And we don't have much to say about these teams, actually.
Yeah, about as standard as you'll see, and the 3 tanks, 2 carries, the norm, the usual for the early days of League of Legends. A little bit slight variation on SEMO's side with that Morgana being, a little bit off tanky, not really tanky stats herself, but does of course have the Black Shield, which will, null an ability, and the damage comes along with it. So definitely 2 comps looking to protect Bilbo Swaggins and Travis Scotty here on the side of Yellow Jackets, and Dionite and Chien here on the Corki and Ash on the side of SEMO.
We had a little bit of a poke there earlier on, but nothing really came of it. Meanwhile, in the top lane, they're able to get some deep vision on top of the blue buff there. Definitely a little bit handy, but will not have enough time to back out, though, to switch that ward out for a sweeper. So looks like we're going to start the matchup as standard as it can be.
Not quite the pro strats there, unfortunately, but not a lot of vision to sweep out as it is, so probably not a whole lot of advantage to be gained there until the first gank of the game. But again, these are junglers. Forever Glimpse will have a little more agency in this early game to potentially make a level 2 or 3 play, depending on your positioning. But Zenith Reborn on this Sejuani definitely a little more limited in what he will want to do pre-6 on this champion.
Yeah, and it looks like here Sejuani's actually going to be starting up by the red buff, interestingly enough. I had a little bit of support from Shen earlier on, but is going to have a slower clear compared to this J4. That's just kind of standard with her. But meanwhile, across the board, we have some pokes here and there.
And Sejuani's taking an interesting path here, actually.
Ooh, you have a hook landing on top of the roof,
enemy blue on that ward.
Yeah, solid damage, though. Bot lane's going to back off, but we do have some vision on top of the wards. Sejuani is taking that blue. Smites are up, but like no real fighting as Corki's going to come around the corner, do some solid damage, and they're going to back off. Okay.
Not so sure about that one, and maybe just a miscommunication from Yellow Jackets here. As you can see this ward here potentially spotted Zenith Reborn moving up there. They're trying to take advantage of the vision they placed in the early game, but Sejuani definitely weaker than Jarvan at level 2, so trying to invade onto that blue buff when I'm pretty sure he started red buff, it's quite a bold call there. It really doesn't pay off for Zenith Reborn, and definitely set behind here by probably a camp and a half in the pace in this jungle matchup.
Definitely indeed. Meanwhile, on the top lane here, just slight poke. Shen is holding the advantage, but J4 is nearby. Pings are coming out though, so Shen knows better. Is going to back off in the end. But meanwhile in this jungle, J4 is definitely holding that advantage. He's able to get the scuttle first as well, and if he really wants to, he could probably go grab that bottom one, but with no idea of where the Sejuani is right now, he's probably just going to back off, and he might actually be looking towards top lane here. I want more to say, but it's going pretty slow. We're waiting on Qs and hooks to land in the bot lane. Oh, but it looks like J4 is looking around top lane. Not gonna get anything though.
That does take over to 4. They're a little risky to gank. That's laner at level 4, and might give time actually for Zenith Reborn here to get down to the second scuttle. I'm a little surprised that, again, a couple of interesting decisions here. That I'm a little surprised Forever Glimpse didn't take that scuttle and run directly down towards second scuttle. Try to take that away from Sejuani. He has to know that he's ahead of her in the pace, although he will be spotted on this ward here as he takes Raptors. The one thing to note is that well played here by the Yellow Jackets bot lane, actually catching him on that ward. Have a ton of prio there and actually go up into the river to make sure that scuttle crab is taken by their side, and their Sejuani does not get double scuttled. So pretty good move there from Bilbo Swaggins and Mr. Silverback.
Yeah, definitely played well. Actually looking across the board right now, there's a lot of pokes coming out here, but it looks like some solid charging is going to be going on top of the Ashe, forcing her back to her tower. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get Nautilus in range for a Q, but the Black Shield was up, so it's going to work out in the end. Though something...
Yeah, play from Swaggins here. It's up 10 CS. He's going to push us in too, so
Definitely indeed. Meanwhile on the top lane, it's a wet noodle fight up there. Maokai is out of mana, so he's not going to be able to conflict anymore. But meanwhile in the mid lane, solid damage coming out from Azir right now. He's going to have to back up, but we do have the Sejuani nearby who's focusing on top of the dragon right now. Azir's coming around. The flash is going to catch the Corki off balance, and first blood will be going to Zenith Reborn, who's also going to dive right back in and go to take that Drake, as it looks like Forever Glimpse is going to be looking around for it.
Very nicely done there by Travis Scott. He just gets a great trade off onto Chen there. Gets his health low.
Smite is there. The charge is happening. One Smite misses. The other one's going to get picked up by Zenith. Meanwhile, members are trapped in the base inside of the pit right now. A quick TP from Maokai is going to spell some interesting problems here. But Azir is going to get taken down by the Ashe. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but it looks like Yellow Jacks are going to get out with the Dragon.
Interesting commitments there. I think maybe the timing just not quite working out for Yellow Jackets as Shen decided not to teleport with the Maokai there, which pretty much guaranteed the team fight loss, but might have just been saying that, you know, we took the dragon on the missed smite there. That's probably good enough. We can save that teleport for a better play because the Ashe, having recently recalled, probably came back with slightly better itemization, full health, summoners up. So may have been a bad situation there for Yellow Jackets, so they make the call not to teleport down there, and they take the dragon for the 1 kill.
Yeah, but everything's back to standard as normal. Something I just like to think about right now. If you want to know what to map your games after, map it after this one. Like, this is the most standard league match that you can have going on. But actually, as I was saying, that little bit of pressure toss on top of Corki as he is shoving in on top of this Azir. But farm stays pretty even in the mid lane, but in the top lane and bot lane, farm difference is actually going to go over to Yellow Jackets, holding around just over 10-15 over the opposing their opponents here. So
Digitally Blank getting some free time off of that teleport from Maokai. And again, some pressure exerted by Bilbo Swaggins in the early game onto this Ashe from Dionite, forced him back early. So definitely seeing the fruits of that labor there.
Just gonna play it safe, though. The W is gonna land on top of Nal as he's approaching. The Q is gonna miss, and the Black Shield will go up just for safety as well. But everyone's gonna back off and get safe here. Again, everyone's just playing safe, playing a standard game of League of Legends. But the hook's gonna land on top of Ashe, actually. Instead, the root's gonna come in, and that's solid damage from Zaya's just gonna chew Ashe up alive. But Nautilus is gonna take the kill instead, most likely by mistake. Doesn't really matter to Zaya, though. He's gonna get some tower plates for it in the end.
Pretty well done there by Mr. Silverback. I think just recognizing that Morgana E is down there, locks the hook onto Dynamite. Dynamite just kind of explodes there from that Zaya E. I'm actually kind of surprised it did that much damage. Maybe got.
Ooh, but it looks like they might get something else here. They got the root solid, but the Black Shield's gonna keep Morgana safe. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, J4 is coming up to assist the Maokai. The ulti gets popped from one member, but Sejuani is nearby. Members are looking along that top lane. We'll see what happens here as Ashe is actually coming down into the bot lane, looking for some solid revenge happening from earlier. Meanwhile, J4 is getting chewed out by the Sejuani. He's going to back out instead. Oh, no. Maokai, a little bit of foresight, is going to dive in. Oh, the flash nearly saved him, but the E is going to take him out. The ulti's landing on top of J4, and that's another 2 kills going over to Zenith Reborn.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate here for the SEMO top side. Just what looked like a decent play, getting digitally blank with that Maokai engage, executed well, have the lane kick coming from Forever Glimpse, but they just overstay after that flash comes out from digitally blank. And Zenith Reborn about to tick over to 6, able to come up into the lane, ticks over to level 6 from a minion in the lane, or from the kill on Maokai. He goes back in. I'm not exactly sure why he went back in, maybe thinking he just couldn't get away, but that kill lets the Sejuani tick over to 6 and makes the follow-up kill on the Jarvan really easy there with the ultimate.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Corki's going to pop that ultimate to get away from a roaming Sejuani coming up from behind him. This Corki's just not getting any love. He's getting bullied a lot in that lane, but he's brought the farm difference back up to even. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, the next hook is going to land, but it's not able to fully pull it in as the Black Shield will come up. But as we're talking right now, about 45 seconds till we have an Infernal Drake. No Ocean or Infernal Soul for this match will I know both teams are definitely going to be looking for that mountain soul in the end.
We'll be hoping that one comes up. Will be a nice shield for all of these tanks on the front line of each team, and it'll be nice for the carries as well. But definitely better than Cloud Soul for this game in particular. Really, everyone except for Corky, maybe Ash, not going to appreciate Cloud Soul as much
Yeah, but
in
meanwhile,
this one.
Sejuani's looking here for some possible ganks as they're starting to prep for this Drake. Sorry for cutting you off. I thought something was about to happen here, but it looks like actually J4 is just going to back up from the Drake as it's coming up in about 5 seconds. And it looks like Yellow Jackets are going to hold the pressure over that Drake.
Forever Glimpse just taking over to 7 kind of needs this level to be even on the smite with Sejuani to have any chance of stealing it. So good awareness from him to know that probably a bad idea to try to contest that, being a level down the enemy jungler.
Yeah, but it looks like they dropped the Rift for some extra pressure right now. Able to get a few stacks over to Sejuani, but Drake is up. Looks like Azir is about to get caught off guard by the J4, but one soldier's going to help him get out of the way. But it looks like they will get J4 away from the dragon just enough to lower it down. The smite's going to come out, and it looks like J4 is caught in the end. The hook's going to catch him. He's not able to hop back over the wall, and Travis Scotty's going to pick up a kill for himself in the mid lane.
Oh, that's a tilter there, Mercenary. Just kind of misplays the whole situation a little bit late on the read on the dragon, which pulled out there. Gonna ult here. Nice dodge by Chen. But yeah, just kind of misreads. Oh, they're gonna go back in. Good flash.
Oh, Travis Scotty's gonna take some solid damage along with Zenith. They're gonna have to back up, but meanwhile in the bot lane, more roots and shots are landing left and right. Solid damage from both sides right now. Gunna is able to get Ash out of that mess, but Mr. Silverback is going to pop the ulti, looking on top for here. The ulti is going to get popped by the Morgana. They're diving into line round. The ulti is going to land on top of them. Ash is going to go down, but solid damage is going to come through, and here comes Forever Glimpse, going to pop out that Xayah. Meanwhile, the ulti is going to get popped by Shen. Mr. Silverback's going to get chewed up by the J4 while Shen is getting chewed up by the others. He's completely alone around. He has no support, and they're just going to try to hunt him down here. Forever Glimpse looking for that EQ. Not going to land it, but they're going to catch him off guard. He's rooted in place, and slowly but surely he's going to get chewed out unless he can get into the tower. A quick attempt there to try to catch them off guard, but he's going to go down to Forever Glimpse here.
I think maybe just a little overzealous from the side of Yellow Jackets here. Really, probably not necessary with some of the pressure they're building up here, but they do see this 30 CS advantage in bot lane and probably just want to pile it on top of Ash. But pretty well played there by Diana, getting stunned up by the ultimate, but flashes at the right time to get away from the Xayah R to E pull there. Gets her arrow off, locks her under turret, and allows her junglers in the area to come clean up the situation. And that teleport from Digitally Blank definitely coming in a little bit late there and onto the Morgana instead of the Xayah. So with no damage left after Xayah goes down, they're easily hunted down by the rest of those 3 players from SEMO. So nice turnaround from SEMO here as they were starting to get a lot of pressure put on them after that Drake fight and a couple of bleeding mistakes from some of this early game decision-making they've had.
Speaking of pressure, Zenith is back down in this bot lane looking for more. They're holding it pretty solid with the abilities right now. The Q's going to land on top of J4, but Zenith is going a little far deep. The Black Shield's going to keep him from getting frozen solid, and the Flash is going to be forced by Sejuani here. Going to be forced to back out. It looks like no more pressure there, but the tower is down to 1 plate remaining here. They got the plate. They're going to back out. They feel confident enough, but we're definitely going to see another fight happen here in the bot lane soon. Speaking of that fight, it might be happening soon. Little combats happening across the map right now. Sejuani looking for that ulti, going to be landing it right on top of Rayband. Rayband is going to be able to get back under tower, and they don't want to force it anymore. Meanwhile, the Roost land on Denante. The wave is coming up. They have nothing to block it off. We might see a quick dive happening down there in the bot lane. Meanwhile, in top and mid, top lane's holding that advantage, especially for the Shen landing on top of this Maokai right now. Getting some solid shots. Meanwhile, Corky has to back off in the mid.
I really think Olio needs to back off right now. One thing to note is Shen actually teleported back to lane, and it looks like the pressure will dissipate. But something to keep in mind is, especially as a top lane, if you see that happening bot lane where it looks like this team's trying to get a dive off there, you have teleport advantage on that Maokai because the Shen teleported back to lane. I think it's really a good idea to be a threat there, backing off and be able to teleport to a minion to that turret and dissuade that dive onto your bot lane, who's already been put under a lot of pressure this game. You know, Zenith Reborn's been, as you mentioned a couple times here, sort of hanging out in this bot side, you know, pathing back to bot, trying to add to this pressure that's been put on by Bilbo Swag, as you can see, is, you know, resulted in a 40 CS lead. So just kind of a tip there with that teleport advantage that really needs to kind of dissuade any dive there. But fortunately for SEMO, the dive effort dissipates as the wave is cleared out, and nothing bad comes of it.
As unfortunately, players playing this game solo queue does not mean you're going to be playing this game solo. But with Sejuani backing off and the ulti being popped by Corki here, looks like they're going to get some pressure on top of this Rift Herald. Sejuani coming around the bend looking for something. The sweeper is going to... the sight lane's going to pop. But here comes Shen trying to get on top of this Corki. The smite's not gonna land, but Sejuani is able to take it instead. She's going down. She's able to get the rift, and she's gonna start running away. The ulti's gonna, two ultis are gonna get popped on top of this Sejuani here. Nazir is gonna pick up that kill on top of J4 as he's coming to support as well. Meanwhile, Corki is slowly getting chewed alive by the Shen, and he's gonna get taken down as well. The ulti's gonna land from the Ashe, looking for some sort of support, but it doesn't matter. Azir has the ulti to clean up the mess, and that's a solid win coming out here for Yellow Jackets.
A great punish from Yellow Jackets. I honestly think that's a little int there from SEMO. I mean, they're doing that Rift Herald on Vision. Sejuani's a level above Forever Glimpse. It's an easy smite steal for her. Just to walk in there and take it away, has extra damage on that smite. They still have the Shen ult to make it a 4v3 fight, and they just take everything. They take the Rift, they take the fight, all their ultimates are up. They take that Rift Herald, put it down mid, get this charge on the second tier 2, and that one kind of blows this gold lead out of proportion. I think it was about, you know, 2.5 to 3K before that, and now you're looking more at 5 to 6K here. So definitely great punish out of the side of Yellow Jackets. They knew what was going on. They knew they had the ults. They knew they had the power, and they took full advantage.
They definitely did, and meanwhile those happened, they got the Rift, they got the Drake, they got 2 towers for it as well, along with a handful of kills, and that's going to put them a solid 5K gold lead ahead of the opponents here, along with some solid bounties on their heads as well. Again, those strong players you're looking at definitely are those junglers. They have it across this map, definitely making some power plays, and their numbers show. Sejuani's rocking a 3-0-4, and J4 might be rocking a 3-3-1, but he's definitely been around the map and definitely helping in these team fights here.
Absolutely, and they will continue to get strong. You know, this is Sejuani already on her Cinder Hulk Tabby with a Giant's Belt and a Kindle Jump. Super tanky. You can see packing, I think, somewhere in the range of 2,600 health already. So very, very big front line here. And this Zaya has 155 creep. The Azir's on 135 with 3 kills. So definitely some big champions here on the side of Yellow Jackets, and something for SEMO to be afraid of us. Here we might have something here. It's 4 people in top side.
The entire team is popping up top side right now, looking to get down those turrets up there, or at least the outer one. Meanwhile, Corki's going to be in the bot lane, trying to take the first tower here for SEMO. All 5 members are focusing on this tower. The ult is going to get popped by Ashe and stay with Maokai. All ultis have been, most of the ultis have been dropped as well. Zenith is taking some solid damage along with Mr. Silverback. They're going to back off. Meanwhile, Zaya is able to get a pull and is going to back off as well. Solid damage all around, but they weren't able to get the tower, and they were able to get one in the bot lane as well, forcing some of the members from Yellow Jackets to back off at least. Meanwhile, Corki is still getting that tower in the bot lane. He has more time to push, but instead he's going to be going right back up top to see if he can help his friends. We have other members backing off as well to deal with the non-existent Corki now. The pressure is on. Forever Glimpse diving in. The Q just barely missing from Nautilus here, barely missing off Forever Glimpse, and on top of Demonte here. But without any pressure and out any minion wave, they lost one of their members. They don't really have anything else. They're going to back off and reset here. Or at least maybe.
I got a little nervous there as Forever Glimpse went in on that EQ, but does not get hit by the binding, or sorry, by the hook. And pretty nicely done there, actually, by SEMO here with that Corki on the bot side taking a turret. They're 4v5, but despite the engage here in that 4v5, they're able to clear the waves twice and hold off the pressure from Yellow Jackets. This turret should fall in the aftermath at some point, but they definitely get an advantage and went on that trade. There's Corki gets 2 or 3 waves of free farm and that turret bot lane. We will see here if they can avoid this trap being set up by Yellow Jackets. We'll back off.
Yeah, no trap in the end. Members are gonna back off. They're gonna get that extra tower. All outer towers are down. We just have the last two in bot and top lane, but looks like Shen's gonna be looking for that one on bot. Actually, he might be diving on top of some farm here. He is near the J4 and Maokai right now. But Maokai is just gonna go in and match Shen down in the bot lane, which so far has been reasonably uneventful. They've shared some skirmishes left and right, but neither one of them are strong enough to take down the other one just solo.
That's tank
That's
match.
the tank curse.
Yep.
You can dive in, be all the wall you want, but if you want to like get into fights and get some solid kills and be a monster, that's not going to happen, Chief. I'm sorry to tell you that.
No, not at all. Both of them sure very happy just to play that macro game. Be tanky, be strong. Um, Both knowing they cannot really kill the other in any sort of 1v1 here, but we can see Soul Drake coming up here. Soul point for the Cloud Soul in just 40 seconds.
Ben's just gonna
He's
barely
start
dodge a
to get-
hook here, but Zenith is around the corner looking for it. The W lands, so does the smite. Maokai is here to catch it up. The E is gonna land as well. The hook's gonna land on top of Maokai. Two members are caught. The ulti's gonna launch as well. But here comes J4 diving in, launching an ulti on top. But Azir is going to pop his ulti to get him out of the circle. Travis Scotty is looking low, and he's gonna dive right back into the fight, trying to go for something. Forever Glimpse is gonna pop Azanias, and it's going to go down first. Shen is going to pop down the Maokai as well, and Zai is going to get another kill on top of the Corki. Monte's on the run. Two members are left, and another solid 3 kills coming out here for Yellow Jackets if they're going to apply that pressure onto that tower. Ooh, hook just barely missed. We might see another dive happening. Actually, we will. Flash from Shen, looking for something. Looks like they're pretty content with getting that tower and the inhib. Let's see which one of their choices. They have Dragon or Baron up. They could just go directly to one of those. And it looks like they're going to go straight to that Drake and get that soul.
Yeah, I think that's a smart decision here. Just fall back to the Drake while there are still some short death timers here. Corki up in just 7 seconds, so take that Drake, reset, and then go get vision around Baron. Nice fight for Yellow Jackets. This will break the game completely open. I do think that one's a little unfortunate for SEMO. I think played almost as well as he possibly could have by Olio there on the Maokai, tanking so much damage for the Corki. They used almost everything to get him down, and I think at the end of the day, Yellow Jackets just slapping SEMO with their wallets. They're up about 7 or 8k gold as that fight began. So just tough to deal enough damage despite what looked like a pretty good start to the fight for them with all of those ultimates being committed to Corki and unable to kill him.
It's really unfortunate. These teams have played amazingly well, but Yellow Jackets just found a way to get a little bit ahead, and they just kept that snowball rolling. But meanwhile, now the only objective standing tall is going to be that Baron. It looks like the members are going to be going straight for it. Same with the side of SEMO. They just got some vision on top of these members. Q's going to miss on top of Chen, but here comes Sejuani and another tank landing some solid damage on top of Chen, forcing him to ulti out of the way. But SEMO heard the calls and cries of Corki, and they're going to come running here. So you have a little bit of combat happening inside the jungle with Zenith. He's looking for something. He's going to get queued instead. This might be a little bit of foresight. He's going to get caught out. He's going to get just barely chewed out. And Ash is going to take that kill with the ulti landing on top as well. They're down a jungler, but they still have the pressure. Mr. Silverback's going to land a Q, but it definitely is not what you want right now. So he's going to pop the ulti to get out alive, and I think there was a little bit missed foresight happening there from Zenith.
Yeah, definitely just an overstep from him there, feeling confident in his tankiness, has that Warmogs as we see it. Travis Scotty going in here and we'll just get him.
Yeah, that Azir is deadly at this level, and it looks like he's just going to keep pressuring them back and back. They don't need that. They don't need a jungler to be able to add pressure on top of that Baron, but they're definitely going to need Sejuani there for the just for taking it in general. Instead, they're gonna relapse. They're like, okay, we don't have a tank, we don't have a jungler just yet, so we're gonna back off of it. Instead, we're gonna go for this top tower, taking down that other one, as Shen is actually forcing massive amounts of pressure onto that bot tower as well, as Maokai's actually gonna have to back off here. Never mind, he's actually gonna stay instead. All right, everyone's just playing safe. Again, this game is very standard. While there's a lot of pressure, I still think SEMO definitely have the idea to come back to this fight, but what you really need is to get that Shen away from your outer towers, because he does have TP and he has ulti, but you need Maokai to be in the fight with you to start it off.
Yeah, I do like your optimism, Mercenary, but I do have a little bit of an issue when 2 standard comps go up against each other and one of them is 8k gold ahead. It makes it a lot more difficult. from the last fight, you know, that's kind of fine. He makes mistakes, we noted, and goes down, and a little bit of overzealous jungle positioning. And even Mr. Silverback had, you know, queued in onto Jarvan probably too aggressively, and almost punished for. I'll hold off here as they are on Baron.
It looks like the pressure's going to start coming in. They have the full wall surrounding it. They're looking for something, but they aren't able to get much. Meanwhile, they're going to be diving right back in as the other member's going to take that Baron instead. It's a complete bloodbath happening right now as Nautilus is going to be picking up the Morgana as well. Slowly but surely, SEMO is going to get chewed out. Maokai is going to fall. J4 is going to fall as well. There goes Corki. The last one standing is Ashe as she runs desperately away. The smite's going to come out. There is no hope, and there comes the ace. I had optimism, man, and it's gone.
Yeah, that will do it. That will be the end of the game here as Yellow Jackets will clean up that front-to-back team fight. You know, Bilbo Swaggin's just able to auto them all down from the back line. They will take the Baron, they will take the ace, they will teleport in, and they will win this game here in the Illinois Division B.
I mean, this must be why they're on top. And there goes the Nexus. Overall, it was a very standard and well-played match by both sides, but Yellow Jackets just ended up with that edge in the end, and they were just able to, I guess, just take that and tear through the rest of the matchup.
I think pretty well played early games, as we kind of expected. A little bit slow to start, but a couple mistakes giving Yellow Jackets some gold on some notable members. You know, their jungler Sejuani, the Azir on that double kill around the Rift, or on that steal around Rift Herald. Some pressure applied throughout the game from Bilbo Swaggins onto Dianite here, allowed him to get ahead. And I think that's, you know, small amount of gold just able to be snowballed into a couple wins as their item spikes were a little bit quicker. And those wins just turned into a big gold lead that eventually ended in that large, you know, ace around Baron that we saw with Cloud Soul in their favor. So, you know, pretty well played standard composition there from Yellow Jackets, taking the advantages when they were given to them, punishing mistakes pretty hard, and using that gold to go around the map, take objectives, and use those objectives to ultimately win the game.
Definitely indeed. As you guys are seeing the damage charts right now, as we are just, I knew there was something close. These teams are both playing masterfully. You could see that in the numbers. Azir just barely coming on over top, on top of Corki here. Meanwhile, the Xayah did a solid number of damage place in damage charts, but it was a close match overall. Again, just looking at these numbers amplifies that, and it's exciting. It really is. These teams are both great, and it's a shame to see SEMO lose in this matchup, but GG to Yellow Jackets in the end. And with that match, we're going to be closing on here for GG Leagues. Thank you so much to you guys for tuning in to this matchup. If you want to know what's going to be happening next, what's happening tomorrow, and if we're having any special events coming up, make sure you go to any of our social media at GG Leagues. And if you want to join up, you want to make you want this masterful play happening with you, or you want to get the next Pentakill and hear me start screaming, make sure you go to ggleagues.com and sign up for a team in your area. If you don't have one in your area, make sure you go to any of our admins here at GG Leagues, and we will be willing to set one up in your area. Once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. My name is Mercenary, and joining me always will be the wonderful DJ, and you guys have a great evening.